Well, good morning and welcome to another beginning piano class. I think this is the end of the review that I'm going to do. At the end of the year, I did a lesson, the last lesson that I did at the end of the year, and it didn't take for one reason or another. And so when I started the new year, I decided to go ahead and do a review from back where we started, basically. And so I'm pretty sure that's where we're going to be, is right where I ended up that last lesson. So, so today, the last review that I want to do is the one in the Greatest Hits, Alfred's Basic Adult Piano course. So we did that early on. It was Love Me Tender. And so I just kind of want to go back over that as a review. So now the fingering here, if you'll recall, so your little finger, number 5, is on G. And so you're going to be doing a G, B here. Now, fingers 1 and 1, your thumbs, are both on D, right? And so it's, you know, it's like when we had the both thumbs on C, except this is a little bit different because it's up 1 instead of being F, G, A, B, C, where your C's were both your thumbs. Now it's on D, so it's a little bit different, especially when you get ready to do C. And in the second measure there, you see you've got a G and a C sharp, and so you're doing that 5-2, right? Which is easier. So the fingering, so 5-3, which is GB, and then 5-2, which is G, C sharp, and then we're going CD in the bass, and then BD, right? So then if you look at the next line, you're back to GB, and then G, C sharp, and then C, D, and then BD, right? And then when we go to the third line in the bass, you've got GD, and then if you look at the fingering, 5-1, because you got a D sharp. You got a G and a D sharp, right? And then you're going 1-2 for the CE, right? So here's where that fingering comes in, going back 1 measure, G, D sharp, and then 1-2 for CE. So those kinds of moves, the fingering just makes the transition from one chord to another so much easier, right? And then it's back to GD, GD, and then G sharp, D, which if you do 4-1 is much easier because you just had 5-1, right? And then the sharp is right there, up a half a step, right? And then the last line, you've got AC, so 2-4, fingering 2-4, and then 1-2 for CD, and then BD. And then in the last, when we come back and play it again, you've got CD, D, C, and then GB, okay? And so in the treble clef, so you've got D, G, F sharp. So if you're at 4 on the G, your C sharp with 3 makes it much easier. So 5, 2, 5, and then G with the 4th finger, and then F sharp with the 3rd again. Okay? Okay, so go down to the 3rd line. That's where it changes a little bit for the treble clef, because we're going from 1 on the D, we're going to be moving up to the B with the 3rd finger. Now here on the 4th line, you're going to go from A with a 2 all the way down to E with the 1, and then that puts A with 4. So you're going from A from 2, E with the 1, and then back to the A again, only with the 4th finger this time. Then when you look at so it's 2, 1, 2, and then your G with the 3rd finger, F sharp with the 2nd finger, E, F sharp, and G. Then you've got to move when we go back up, because you're doing the D with 1, and then the G with the 4, and back to the 3 for the F sharp, you see? So you're moving around a little bit, but here again, this is, because this is a beginning book with contemporary music, it's a simplified version, but at the same time, you recognize the song. So anyway, so G, B, and D. Okay, so let's go ahead and play this. Okay, yeah, so basically, I think, you have to bear with me though, but I think that as far as the review goes, that's pretty much where we finished up. So if you'll turn to page 90 in our regular book, we're starting to move up and down the keyboard in sixths. And so if you look at the examples here, in the treble clef we've got the C, A, right? So you're moving from sixth, so as long as you know what your first note is, for example, that's starting on C, that's on D, but you're maintaining that distance no matter what you're doing. So it's okay. So if you just remember what your first note is and you're keeping your hand in that position, you'll be hitting it right. So from C, D, E, F, G, F, E, D, C, right? So that's what we're going to be doing on page 91. And then the bass going from C to E. And then so if you here again think C, D, A, oh excuse me, I'm going down, not up. So it's C, B, A, G, F, G, A, B, C, right? So that's what we're going to be doing. Now, in the Lone Star Waltz, if you look at the bass for a minute, you've got C with the 5 and G. So it's a count of 3, right? 1, 2, 3. And then in the second measure, you're still on G, but you're moving down to B. And then in the fourth measure in the bass, you're going C, E, G, okay? And then on the next line in the bass, you've got GC again, you've got GB again, and then C, EG, okay? So we're just going, oh, so then in the treble clef though, you've got 1 on C, 2 on E, 5 on A, and then 4 on G. So it's, and then in the second measure, you're going D, F, A, G. Okay, you still got the A, G, in all 3 measures, but you're going from 1, 2, C, E, to D, F, okay? So 1, 2, 1, 3, okay? Okay, so then it would go okay, and then the second line, or yeah, second line is basically the same thing. Okay, so you're dealing with eighths notes and quarter notes, dotted half notes, okay. So we're just going to play that first of all. So we've got GC, now here, you need your foot pedal, right? You're extending the sound. Okay, so that's the first part. Okay, now when you look up above on page 91, we've got these dots, which indicate staccato, which is just a very short. So in the bass, to begin with, fingers 1 and 2, you've got G, F, right? F, G. And then when you go to the last measure on the first line, it's 1, 3, which is G, E. So, all right. And so in the second line, it's F, G, E, G. Okay. Then, so you're doing the sixths with the right hand in the treble clef, which is G, he goes to a G, E first, and then F, E, So it goes. Okay. Then when you get to the third line, we're switching to the left hand in the bass to go C-E. Right, so it's C with the 1, A, or excuse me, C, B, A, and G, right? So maintaining that stretch of sixths, right? Okay, and then the last line. So if you're maintaining that sixth with your hand, keeping it in that position, all you have to think about is from the top in the bass, the C, going from C to E, just think C, B, A, and G. That simplifies it. And then, of course, the last of that is 3 beats, right? 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? And then in the right hand, you've got your 4-3, which is F G. Now it says piano, but I'm going to play it louder just so that you can hear it. So, right, staccato, right? And then, okay, that's 4-3, and then 4-2 for the E-G. And then back to 4-3, and then 4-2. So let's take a look at that. So you've got F G here. You've got your G. So. Okay, now we're switching. Okay, so putting the whole thing together. Okay, we're starting here with, right? And then back to the beginning. Okay, so if you begin up above there where it shows you moving the 6 with the right hand and the left hand, and you get that down, it makes it much easier. And then in the very beginning there where you've got in your bass your GC and GB, once you get that and in the treble with your fingering of 1-2 and then 1-3, it will simplify things for you very much. So, okay. So So moving on to page 92. Okay, now we're going from sixth, we're going to sevenths and eighths, so we're starting to deal with octaves now. And so, and the fingering is just a little bit different, as you'll see here. When we look down below, the very first line, we're talking melodic intervals and harmonic intervals. And if you'll recall, the harmonic intervals are the ones you play together, right? Harmonics. And then the melodic intervals are the ones that you play separately. So if you look, we're beginning with G. Just move a little bit. Okay. So you've got half notes. So C, D, and then your CE is also 1, 2. So 1, 2 for CD, 1, 2 for CE, and then you start going 1, 3 to CF, and then CG is 1, 4, and then 1, 5 for CA. Now you're going to move, because to get CB, that's a seventh, there's your octave. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 5, and 1, 5. Now for me, that an octave is just about as far as I can stretch, okay? My little hands. But if you can get it, then it's important, because we're starting to move in the direction where we're going to be moving up and down the keyboard much more than we have up till now. So with the right hand, the CD and the CE is 1 and 2, but in the left hand it isn't. It's just 5, 1, or excuse me, 5, 4, 5, 3, 5, 2, 5, 1, and then 5, 1 the rest of the way. Okay, so it's just a little bit different with the right hand. So it's good to know, though. There's a reason for everything. Okay, so basically, that's what that is. Okay, so we're dealing with octaves now. We're going all the way up. So now is when things start to get interesting. So there's little exercises here for you to do. Go ahead and do those. And now if we look at the Cafe Vienna, so this is a little tricky if you haven't played it before. With the bass, you've got C, E, G, and then B, F, G. And then the last measure of the second line is C, E, G again. And then in the treble clef, your 2 is on E, so E, C, and then G, G. So you're going from on 2, 1, 4, 4, and then 2, 1, 5, 5 for the A's, right? And then you're moving up to B, A, and then G, F, D with 2, 1. So again, okay? So second line, So the second line begins FD. So you're already still, your 5 is on B, so you're ready to move because you've got FD. Third line, now you move back to E with the second, and then GG, AA. Now you move because you've got D as 1 and F as 2, but now you're going to move down and with the 5 finger go to G, F, and then you're stretching all the way up from C to C, okay? So, let's play that again. Okay, and then once again with the bass, it's so let's put it all together. Okay? It'll take some work, take some practice. And so let's go on to page 95. Now in the bass, now this is a lullaby by Brahms, Andante, and so it's going to be smooth and soft and it's a lullaby, right? So there's a touch involved, and it's played softly, but if I play it too soft, you can't hear it. So we're just going to go like we normally do, but keep that in mind. It is a lullaby, and so you want to play it softly. So looking at the bass, then we're in the second measure. We've got C, E, G, which we had over here, right? So we're dealing with some of the same chords. And then D, F, G. Then B. And then with the 4th finger again, D. 1, 2. So that's an F chord, right? F-A-C, but C. So you're going from, in the 3rd line in the bass, you've got C, and then F-A is 1, 2, and then in the next measure, it's 1, 3 for the E-G. Okay, then B, F, G. Okay, again, so 5, 1, 3. So the D is with the fourth finger, then 5 on the B, 1, 2, F, G, 4 on the D, So in this one, the fingering is really important, so I'm going to give you some here when we're doing the treble clef. The bass is a little bit easier, a little bit, you can write those in, but it's not that much of a transition. But in the treble clef, we're starting with E with the 1, and then to G with the second finger. And then, so that's 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 5, 4, 3, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3 on the F. This is the second line. 1, 1, 2, 3 on the F. 1, 2, okay, so D, F, and then 4 on the B, 4, 3, 2, 3. So that's why you're doing the 4 on the B, because you're going to be doing a 5 on the C in the last measure there, right? So again, third line, C again, and then AF is 3, 1. And then G with the second. Now you're going to move from G with the second to E with the second, and then 1 for the C, 3 for the F, 4, G, and then 5A, and then, E for 2, 4 on G, and then 1, 1 on C, and then all the way up an octave to the C here, and then AF, 3, 1, and then 2 with the G. Then you're going to move down to E with a 3, 1 on the C, 4 on the F, 3 on the E, 2 on the D, and then 1. Okay, so let's do that again. Starting with E is 1, 1, 2 on the G, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 5 on the C, 4 on the B, 3 on the A, 3, 2, 1, 2, that's 1, that's D, E, right? 3 on the F, 1 on the D, D, 2 on the E, 3, F, 1, 2. Now you're going D, F, 1, 2, 1, 2, 4 on the B, and then there's the 5 on the C, and then all the way down to middle C, right? C, C, C. Third finger on A, F, G is 2, 2 on the E. Yes, now you're going from 2 on the G to 2 on the E, C, F with a 3, G4, A5. 2 on the E, 4 on the G, 1, 1 on the C, 5 on the C, A on the 3, F, 1, 2, G, and then move all the way down to E with a 3rd, 1. Okay, so let's put it all together. Okay, so remember you're going the G with your second finger. So I would go ahead and position yourself there. So there's the D. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, so it takes practice, doesn't it? So let's do one more here. This is Rocking It Away. So now in this one, we're going to have both a B flat and some sharps. Okay, so we're going to mix them up here. But it's pretty simple in the sense that you've got a G, G, B, D, and then G, G here. So your 5, 3, 1, G, B, D, and then 5, 2, 1, which is the G, C, E, and then back to, and then up to. And then in the last measure of the second line, you've got an F sharp, C, D. Okay, and then C, E, G, or G, E, G, G, B, D, I should say. Okay, so you've got G, B, D. You've got G, C, E, G, B, D, G, C, E, and then F sharp, C, D, and then back to G, B, D, G, C, E, G, B, D, G, C, E, F sharp, C, D, G, B, D. Okay, so it's just those. And then in the treble, it's C, C, B, D, G, B, D. So with the second finger, A, G, A, G, and then B flat with the third finger, and then A with the second, and then G with the 1, Now there's no flat here, right? That's an accidental, so it's just for that one measure, okay? So then if we're going, and then in the second line, again, we have the B flat. And then B flat again, because it's still in the same measure, right? And then 2 on the A, then G, G, B, D, G, B, D, A, G. So that's 2, 1, 2, 1. Third finger of the B flat, and then A with the 2. Okay, so so you're holding this for 2 measures, right? Okay, again. Okay, and then on page 97, you see some exercises for using the B flat. So I do want to cover one more area here. Now we're getting into what is a whole step, what is a half step. So a half step is going up or down to the very next key. It doesn't matter if it's white or black. So in your B, C, there are 2 white keys together. Well, that's a half a step. If you go from C to the black key, that's a half a step. And if you go from the black key to the white key next, so that would be C, C sharp to D is a half step. So any key, black or white, the very next key is a half a step. Now a whole step is 2 half steps, right? 2 half steps. So if B to C is a half step, then B to C sharp is a whole step. If C to C sharp is a half step, then C to D is a whole step. C to D is a whole step. D to E is a half step. D to E is a whole step. E to F is a half step. F to G is a whole step. So they give you the readout there on what that is, and that's important because we're going to go over it a lot next time, but what we're dealing with is tetrachords, and a tetrachord is what makes up an octave, and it's how it's arranged. And it's very interesting that in this case, we're going to begin by just defining what a tetrachord is. And first of all, it's 4 notes together, and they have to be in alphabetical order consecutively. In other words, as you look down below there, C, D, E, F, that's consecutive order of the alphabet. And so you've got 4 letters, and the breakdown is whole step, half step. So if you've got C to D is a whole step, D to E is a whole step, and then E to F is a half step, that's a tetrachord. And so next time we're going to be dealing with tetrachords and octaves, and it's very interesting. It can be a little challenging because this is new, but when you take a look at what this is going to bring to what we understand about music theory, for example, without trying to make it challenging, because it's challenging enough. I remember taking music theory in college when I was working full-time, and you can't work full-time and go to school full-time and give justice to either one. But anyway, that's another story. But this book, and this is the reason why we're using it, this Alfred's, I'll tell you what, the way that they break this whole thing down is very interesting, and they make it simple enough that it's understandable. And so next week, I'm very excited about getting into this whole thing. So I'm looking forward to seeing you next time. So thank you for your time, and see you next time.